Hello, thanks for joining me. This is Angela Anderson. We're going to be painting a white still life tonight. I've got my husband, Mark, with me.
Hey there, buddy.
He's man in chat during our acrylic painting tutorial tonight. So if you've got questions, you can ask those in chat and I'll try to answer. Let's get started. Alrighty, so I'm going to be using a 9 by 12 inch canvas today. I haven't done anything to it. It's just all ready to go. This is a mixed media canvas board from Fredrix. And for our background, I'm going to block in some of our colors with a large flat brush. And I'll be mentioning my other brushes as we use them, but I'm going to mostly be using like probably an angle brush and maybe some blenders here. I'm not really sure exactly. I want to keep this kind of loose and light, and we're going to draw it as we go as well. As far as our colors go, we've got Carbon Black, Burnt Umber, Burnt Sienna, Indian Yellow Hue, Cadmium Red Light, Quinacridone Magenta, Ultramarine Blue, Unbleached Titanium, Titanium White, and some gloss glazing liquid. I started with a kind of neutral palette here, and what I'm going to do is play the orange and blue against each other to make our neutrals. They're opposite on the color wheel, and so I think that'll really work well for our neutral palette tonight. And it's mostly kind of tans and just a little tiny bit of pink, and I'm going to play up a little bit of blue in there too to give it a little contrast with the orangey tones. How are you doing, hun?
I have food in my mouth.
Nice. Hope everybody's doing good tonight.
Perfect timing.
Perfect timing. All right. Well, let me see. Let me go ahead and just block out sort of our main color portions here, or not color portions, but really value portions. So right at the very bottom here, we've got our table coming across at kind of a circle like that. I don't know if you can see that. And then right, not quite at the middle, just a little bit to the inside of the middle, we've got a dark line coming down like that. And that's going to be our curtain, and then there's some folds and things in here. And then our vase is going to sit right in here somewhere. And then I decided to take out the radio. I just wasn't really adding, in my opinion, adding anything to the composition. I kind of wanted to make it a little bit less busy, so I moved over the basket thing that the bird is sitting on a little bit, so it's overlapping this slightly, and then left room for the bird to sit here. And it's looking this way. Off that way. Okay. And that will be our main composition, and then all of this is going to be our flowers. And I might even bring my vase up a little bit. I don't know. We'll see when we get going here what we want to do. So to start out, I'm going to mix up just a few kind of base colors. So I'm going to grab my my red here, my Cadmium Red Light, and pretty good amount of white. I'm going to mix up a light orange, and to that I'm going to add some black to gray it out, and this will create that kind of gray tone. Ooh, that's pretty. So pretty much equal parts black and orange, maybe a little bit more of the orangey red color, and you could use an orange instead of red here if you wanted to, so it doesn't have to be this tone. And then I'm going to get a little bit more of that and just do that in red, the black and red here, and do a dark brown. I'm going to add a little bit of the burnt sienna to it and do like a darkish reddish brown. Let me get a little bit more of that orange tone. And I think I'm going to add just a little bit of my magenta to it to make it a little bit more of a red instead of a orange base. There we go. Nice dark orangey red. I'm going to get a little bit more black here. And really you could probably use a color like a cadmium red dark or a even a red oxide color, something like that. That's sort of the tone that we're going for here. Not the cadmium red dark. You need to add like a brown to that, but just like a brownish red tone. There we go. That looks good. So that'll be kind of the base for some of those darker flowers tones that are in there. And as you mix, I'm just scooping up my excess and making it into a smaller little area there so that I don't have, it won't dry out as fast. That's the words I'm looking for.
Don't scare me like that.
Just lost my words there for a minute.
You just looked at me like I was supposed to be listening or answering something.
No, I was just looking at you like,
sorry.
Are you listening?
Kind of.
Kind of. Okay.
I hear red palette. Blah, 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 flowers.
All right, mixing a dark magenta, kind of maroon burgundy color here with black and Quinacridone Magenta. And just depending on how dark you want it or how black you want it or how magenta you want it, you can add more black or more magenta there. I've kind of got kind of a little bit more magenta than black on that. So I've got the reddish and then the magenta, and then I'm going to mix a gray with my burnt umber and ultramarine blue, and kind of do 50-50. Cashmere has arrived, our cat. She kind of brings her own trumpets. Announces her arrival there. Da, 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 da. I have arrived. And gonna get some more of just the blue, ultramarine blue, and that dark color. So this one's kind of 50-50, and this one's got more of the blue with just that gray that I had just mixed up, and then I'm going to add white to this one. Pretty good amount of white over here. And so I'll have like a light gray blue. Okay, and then I need some yellow, so I'm going to get a pretty good amount of the yellow here. And while I'm mixing, I need to keep the other ones moist, so I need to make sure I'm spraying. Now, usually yellow with black is going to turn a green, so we'll see what happens here. So yeah, we've got a green going on. So in order to counteract that greenness and make it more of a gray, that is very green. I'm going to try adding some burnt umber. We'll see what happens there. I don't think that that's going to be enough, but it'll make it more of a brownish yellow. And then I can add a little bit more yellow, a little bit of the red. Cadmium Red Light. There we go. So we've got kind of a neutral brownish yellow here. And the dog wants to play too. Everybody's trying to get in.
He's looking at Cashmere sitting on the desk
no.
Why does the cat get to do that?
Why is the cat up on Dad's lap? That's not fair.
Goodness.
Definitely not fair. Okay, so that looks good. All right, so we've got some nice different things going on here. I'm going to grab the rest of my yellow here, and just using the brown that's in my palette, I'm going to mix up some of that and get some white. Okay, and that's a little bit too yellow. I kind of want my basket color to be a little bit more neutral. So I'm going to get some burnt sienna here. So about 50-50 burnt sienna and yellow, Indian yellow hue. That may have been too much. No, that's probably pretty good. So that's a nice kind of orangey color. And when you mix all of these up, you can kind of tell on your palette too whether or not, you know, you like the combination of the colors. So if they don't look good here, they're not going to look great on your painting. So now's the time to make adjustments if you want to, but pretty happy with that. Let me go ahead and I'm going to mix up these two colors here a little bit and see what happens.
So
Get a little bit more of that cadmium red light here with this. What?
some of our regulars are questioning if these colors are actually in the painting. I told them, no, you're just mixing random colors. It's the medication. Just go with it. So
I actually, what I did was I took the photograph and I did a breakdown of it beforehand on one of my Procreate palette mixers. You can take a photograph and it'll show you the palette for it. And then I went into each color that it showed and looked to see, and they were all red grays and magenta grays and yellow grays. So that's why I'm doing it this way.
So it's not the meds.
It might be a combination, but no, not the meds.
Okay.
So doing some gray here. I think what I'm doing is like probably oversaturating these. They're a lot more gray in the breakdown of the colors. You know, they probably start out with the reds and the yellows, but there's a lot more gray than what I have here. So I'm probably going to have to add more black. But I am kind of punching up I do like this color, and I don't even really know how I got there. I was talking. Hopefully somebody was paying attention.
You mix the red, the second from the bottom.
I mix this with this, yes, and then more of that, I think, and some white and some black. Mix, so a little bit more black, gray. That's going to be a good color there. Okay. But yes, it doesn't look like it, but these colors are in our photograph. They're just more neutral, and I will make them more neutral as we use them. I'm not going to use them full strength here, but it'll just start out, and we'll play with it as we go. All right, so this is first 13 minutes just mixing colors. But it'll give us a good head start for the rest of the painting. So, okay, again, gonna spray everything down really well to make sure I've got. And basically, this color is this color plus yellow, because this color was the red and black. So this is red, black, and the yellow colors. So. All right, that was red with white, and then this is the red and black with burnt sienna and no white. All right, let's go ahead and grab my brush here. In this back corner here, I'm gonna get this color, maybe a little bit of the brown gray. Let's get a little bit of the blue, but that's okay. There we go. And I'm going to want this color to be right in here. I checked my value before the video just to kind of see what that color is. Even though it looks like it's fairly light, it is only looking that way because of the lighter colors around it. But it is pretty dark. And then it gets a little bit lighter as it goes down toward the bottom where the table is. Okay, looks good. Let me get the white, maybe a little bit of my gray. And I'm going to use it up here. And see how nice that soft blend is right there, just because those both are wet. So it's going to blend nicely for me. And I'm just going to do these vertical stripes of color and just various shades of white here in my curtains. But I want this area to be pretty light. Get a little bit more white. This middle area be more just white. Because the dove's going to be up against this curtain, so it's going to be, dove's going to be a little bit darker than the curtain, then blend into it in this little middle area here. Long brush strokes. Make sure I've got enough water that is flowing nicely for me, and I'm going to get a little bit of blue over this side. Finish it up with some blue. And you see, as we get these on the palette, or on the canvas, I mean, how nicely all these colors are going to play against each other and create this really nice, warm, interesting space. So I'm going to get a little bit of blue up there in that corner before that dries. Okay, I like that. A little bit more of the darker blue. And just go off the canvas right here with that. There we go. Like I said, that blue and the blue and the reddish tones are going to really create a nice contrast of color. They're opposite on the color wheel, so we'll get a nice dramatic play between these two colors. Making sure I'm coming down far enough there. And then my table, I'm going to go ahead and get my white. Maybe get some of that warmer white, the Unbleached Titanium. I'm out of white. There we go. Okay, I like that. And then there's actually some of that darker gray on this part of the table over here. Let me see if I can get it in here while it's still wet. Coming back from the vase. There we go. Okay. Looks good. I'm going to give that to Mark and let him dry that for me.
I want to know what color checker that you were talking about when you talked about the reds.
Here, let me show it. My iPad is awake. So it's my Procreate. It looks like this. Whoops. Looks like this little symbol there. I don't know if you can see that. Procreate, and I'll just do a new canvas, and then up in here you can find your under palettes, you can click the plus button and you can create a new palette from camera. You can take a photograph from a file from my photos. And so I took the picture of the dove there, and it made me that this is my palette now. So this is the palette from the photo. And then we'll go to my disk, and then what I can do is click on that photo, that picture, and see. Come on. Oh, it's not letting me do it with my hand. You can see the different colors, and then it'll show you where the color is on the spectrum. So there's my bright red, and it's in the black range here. And then there's my warm yellow, orangey color and I need to, it's probably closer to that color there that we mixed up. Here's my green. And even though we don't see that those colors are in there, they are, that color picker kind of found all these colors in there. So I need to mix up something similar to that. And so that one was the orangey yellow with like mid gray right there. You can see the kind of base tone here, and then where it falls in the gray scale here, white to black. And so this one's kind of right in the middle there. So I would need to take my yellow and mix a gray with it, and probably maybe a little bit more of a that with it to get it closer. But that's how I did it, and just kind of because something like this that's got, you know, just so many different subtle tones to it, it can be hard to see the colors. It's just a nice little easy way of kind of cheating and getting it. Oh, I missed a spot here. All right, so let me go ahead and grab my chalk, and I'm going to draw in my vase. And one thing you can do when you're doing your vase is to kind of do your circle at the top, kind of right at the top there. That'll kind of give you your neck, and then split it right up in half so that you know you're getting it symmetrical. Same deal here, just kind of round out that base. Somewhere like that. Might make it a little bit wider.
So you're teaching people Procreate also. You should change up the title of this painting.
Procreate. Procreate.
Yeah. Acrylic painting and Procreate tips. Yeah. Somebody learned something. They're like, oh, they got to try that out.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I'm just starting to learn Procreate myself, so I'm not an expert in it by any means, but it's been pretty fun, kind of learning it. And can I see the traceable there that I made? Yes. I'm just trying to see where I moved this to. I made the traceable last night. Okay, so I did put it right about there. So I moved this up. That's what I need to do. I might need to move that over. So this base needs to move over. Move. I feel like it was kind of cramped down here. Let me just take off my chalk. Oops. I did kind of want that space in between my vase and my window, but I put this over too far, so I may have to just add a little bit more of that color there. There we go. Some more in there, more central and up towards the top of that. And then our box somewhere down in here. And then our bird. Yeah, I did have its tail coming off here. I might have it just going over that spot there that I... So with the bird, you're kind of doing this teardrop shape, and then the tail comes out from that, kind of almost a line. I kind of don't like, I think it needs to be either above or below this line here, because I don't like that it's splitting that in half. So I'm going to move it down like I have it in the, I keep getting this color in there, sorry. I'm going to move it down here. There we go. Somewhere in like that. Okay, let's go ahead and just work on our vase here, and then I can get the rest of it in there. I need more white. I should put that out while I was getting my...
Yeah. Not very efficient here. Come on.
I know.
Got to streamline this operation. At least for a few more weeks.
For a few more weeks, why?
Yeah, because we got to watch them find like nothing on the island.
Mm-hmm.
So you're recovering a little bit better than the previous surgery?
I am. My previous surgery, I was still pretty bad shape at this point.
I think you remember all the days and things that you did.
It's funny. I'm on pretty heavy painkillers, and they're a little bit scary because when I remember when I was on them before, I did things that I don't recall doing, like paid my employee and put the totally wrong month on the pay stub. Like totally wrong. Like didn't even register that it was wrong until like I got off of them, and so it was like, I don't know, I'm a little scared to do anything because now I know.
I was like, monitoring your activities.
I felt fine. I don't know why people say these are addicting, because I feel totally fine. Like it's not affecting me at all. And then I'm doing all this weird stuff that I don't remember.
I'm just glad you have a team that's posting to social media for
Right. I do. This is a good thing. Yeah. And today I took behind the scenes photos or video of this ahead of time, and I couldn't edit it because it was making my stomach it's like about to throw up. So yeah. All right. So using this dark gray that I mixed here, I'm going to put, I did the vase in white, and then I'm going to put this dark below here, just shadow it, wipe that off, and then just kind of pull the shadow down away from it. If it dries ahead, before you get the chance, get a little bit of water. I don't want too much water because I don't want to wipe it off, but a little bit of water kind of reactivate that paint a little bit for me. Here we go. And then wipe that all off, and then just work this wet edge here and just push it around and smush it out. I can use my finger. It's usually the finger kind of helps go a little faster. There we go. So a nice shadow. And I'm gonna need a couple coats on that vase there. And I think I might just darken up that curtain on that side of it a little bit. So I'm gonna get a medium brush here. Let's get this one. This is the 8 bright. That was the 3/8 inch angle brush there that I was using. I'm going to use this. And I think I was using some of this in there too for that color. It honestly doesn't matter. I'm not going to try to make it look blended or anything like perfect. I'm just wanting to get a little bit of color on this side of the vase. So I'm going to bring it out just a little bit more. And I'm wanting to smudge out that edge, so I'm just kind of going over the top of my light color a little bit and then just working it into the dark area over the top, just to kind of blend it in a little bit. Okay, and then I can get my lighter color. It's in my curtain here, that lighter blue, and come this way over the top of it a little bit. Right along that edge. Just kind of smudge out that edge, that border between those two. And just soften it up a little bit. And that dark line will actually be nice. I just kind of want to make sure that it sort of blends in nicely to this background. So what I can do is grab my glaze and grab some more of that dark color and then just kind of use that glaze to go over the top of this area with a little bit of that color just to blend it out. Okay, nice. Most of this is going to be covered up by our flowers and things, so I'm not too concerned about it. But I do need to mix some of that yellow. Remember we said we had kind of a yellow gold, so I'm going to get a little bit of the yellow, gold, and then my white and black gray. Remember, it was like pretty gray, which is similar to what we did here, but I think this has less of the, we added burnt sienna to that one. So this one's no burnt sienna, more gray. And that's gonna make a nice, yeah, I like that. And then we can add it to this yellow here if we want it to be more yellow. But that'll be a nice additional color to use. More of a khaki yellow. Okay. Now this is the layer where you're going to see it, so I'm going to try to be a little bit more intentional with where I'm placing this. Brought it out just a little bit more. I'm actually going to use this brush here. This will be my blender, and it'll kind of allow me to blend in my darker area here. So I'm going to get that dark brownish blue. I'm going to use more blue here. I'm going to use that on this side. So I want this just to be a little bit darker than my background. And it should be about the same color as that down there. And get my white and just blend into that wet edge with my white. This blender brush makes it a lot easier. Should have eaten something before the show. My stomach is growling at me. Okay. I'm just using a little bit of that darker color along the bottom there. This brush makes it really easy, but use a little bit juicier application of the paint, and that will kind of give you a little bit to work with when you're trying to add your shadows and blends and stuff. If you have it too thin, it won't push around. You won't be able to add color. So I'm going to add some white right there. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. I don't think my shape's quite right, but I can work on that. Let me get a little bit of this. Bring my shape out just a little bit more right there. And the one thing you do need to be careful of is just make sure that that paint is still wet that you're pushing it around into. Once that paint starts to dry, you won't want to keep messing with it, because what'll happen is you'll just start lifting the color and it won't blend. It'll just make a mess. So that looks pretty good, I think. Got a nice dark blend on that vase. It might be a little bit darker than I need it, but that's okay. All right, so I'm going to get some of my dark brown, and I'm going to start putting in my basket. And I'm going to use that dark brown to do my basket shape. And I'm going to go ahead and use this brush because it's got that kind of texture in it already, and I don't need this to be perfect. I've got a lot of texture with my basket, so my edges are not super clean. There we go. And I'm going to bring this up to here. And my bird's going to sit in here somewhere. So my lid would be right in here, in that area. I just want to make sure that I bring this over enough. I'm gonna have my bird sitting in front of it though, so just want to make sure that it's over far enough. Okay, that's good. I need to bring that up just a little bit on the top there. Okay, and then let me go ahead and start on my bird before this dries, so that I get my bird in here in the right spot. And I'm going to put him right here. That'll erase that corner of the bird. There, and then the tail coming down like that. Okay. I did get a line here when I put in that table. I don't know if you see it here, but I put that paint in a little thick. I didn't wipe off my line, and so now my bird and my vase and everything has this line through it. You see that? I don't know if you can see it, but
I was wondering about that.
Oh, I can try to get it off there by putting my paint on a little thicker in those areas. When I get to that part of my bird, I can kind of put my vase, my feathers in a little thicker. So This is this particular part here is going to be the hardest part on this part of the table. The rest of it is going to be real easy. I'm taking my white here and wipe that off, and I missed the part of that table, curtain here, so I'm just going to get some white and just come up from there, fill that in. Let me go ahead and get my bigger brush, make it easier. Some white. There we go. And then I'm going to wipe off my bird drawing because that's all wrong. I tend to not like to sketch. You can tell if you've watched any of my videos. I don't like to sketch really. I like to just paint it as I go. It makes it a little bit, for me, it's easier just to see what I'm doing than to use this chalk. I just use it kind of as a starting point, but I don't usually do it exactly by my chalk lines. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Might make that a little bit more blue, but you see how that kind of, we use that reddish tone. You would not see that it's red there. It doesn't look red, but it's there. So that's where that kind of color picker can really help, because we can see colors that help you see things that aren't, they're there that your eye is not picking up on. All right, so for my feathery flowers, let me see. I think I want get a little bit bigger angle brush here. Oops. I guess I should finish putting the head on my bird, huh? Why not? I'm getting some of that brownish gray with a little bit of the blue in there. Get a little bit of this orangey color too. Okay, and so our bird is facing this way. This side of his body is darker. And of course, we're going to have this basket, so I don't want to get too detailed with my bird yet, because we're going to be covering over parts of it with the basket. So we'll have to edit back in parts of our bird once we get our basket done. So somewhere in here, and the head kind of comes up this way and is looking off in this direction. Much smaller than the body.
You could have just added a red line there and done some of that splatter effect you did on that lady. Would have been fine with that.
It was an ex-bird. There was a bird there at some point. It's no longer. This is the bird after Fitzpickles got into it. A dog. He hasn't caught a bird lately, so.
We're doing better about opening the door slightly first to scare the birds away. Mm-hmm. Give them a chance.
Give them a chance to run.
Yeah. No, he wasn't happy about that possum in the tree the other night, though.
No. He lost his, you know what.
His fluffy little mind.
Yeah. He did. Okay. Let me think here what I want to do. Just making sure I'm making everything big enough here for our scene.
So for a sports fan, right now you could just, see the doves sitting on a hockey puck. You can leave that part there and not fill it in later. Different variations on this theme is running right now.
Right.
Could have gone Halloween horror there for a little bit. Hockey. We're just teaching you all those little techniques. One painting, so many different ways to go.
Right. Right.
I swear I haven't been on your meds.
I have to say there's a time and place for them because my goodness, I was hurting.
We came from the dentist's office and they gave a prescription and the anesthesia stuff was still in effect. But it takes 30 minutes for the prescription to get filled. And
oh my gosh.
Angela sends me a text. It's okay. Yeah, I was inside shopping waiting for the prescription. And she sends me a text. It's ready. And hurry. It's starting to hurt bad.
Yeah.
Quick. Get to the chopper.
Yes. It's like, oh my gosh. And I remembered too late that the last time we had brought Advil to take while we were waiting for the med, I forgot to do that this time. Okay, using the darker gray here, I'm going to do a little beak. And widen it out here. I think I made it a little bit too big, but we'll see. Okay. All right, looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and use this brush that I have. This is the 2 round. And do my basket with this color, these colors. So I'm going to use these 3 colors for my basket. I'm going to use the gray and add some of this yellow to it. And I'm also going to use my Unbleached Titanium. So I'm going to just kind of switch between these 3. I've already got this nice dark color in here. And if I don't get a small enough line, I might switch to bigger brush, but I think this is doing okay. I'm not gonna get super fancy with this. I'm just gonna kind of try to indicate the little texture that's happening in this. Move it up. Okay, here we go.
Texture and action.
So it'll help to kind of know where my top of it is. So I'm going to do my top right in here. And then there's just these lines that are coming in. To the center. Like that. And it's about all I'm going to do. I'm not going to do a ton. Might do a little bit of a darker brown. And there is like a little part that he's perched on here that I might get a little bit of the burnt umber and unbleached titanium here. In the middle there. Well, can I get it dark enough? There we go. I think I want to slim up my bird here a little bit. It's too chubby right there. Some of the red and this gray green color. Let's use some of that. Okay. Not 100% with that, but we'll get it there. Gonna get some more of that yellow color. I'm gonna bring that out just a little bit from that edge of the basket because it needs to be, the lid needs to come out a little bit. I'm using the burnt umber there. Okay. Getting that lighter color. Okay, and then this part, I'm just going to do lines down. So. Using different browns here just so that it's not all the same color. And if you want to get super fancy about it, these little lines should overlap. So you've got one and it's going like this, and then the next one's here, the next one's here. So right here where they're meeting, they should just, the next line should go in between. But I'm not being super careful with it. I'm just going pretty fast here. This basket's far enough away and kind of blurry enough that you're not really seeing it, you know, your eyes not picking up on the exact detail. These side, I'm going to go a little bit lighter. So these ones. And this last row, I'm going to kind of come up at an angle a little bit with it. Okay. Getting that unbleached titanium now, maybe even a little bit of white. And I'm just going to come back in here and do a few really bright highlights over the top of some of these. Getting there. It takes a minute to get it. It's all about layering. Just gonna have to do enough layers, and then it starts to kind of make sense.
Yeah, get all the effect of all the different shadows and tones through there.
Right.
That you see, but you don't know that you see.
Right.
Until you don't see it.
Right.
See?
See, I see what you're saying.
You could have answered C.
I'm going to let that dry, and then we'll glaze it.
Or you could just basically ignore it and just go on about painting.
Keep going.
That's usually your preferred method, I think.
I'm not exactly sure what you're trying to tell me, so you're confusing me, so I'm just going to keep going.
Well, you see, C is yes in Spanish.
I know.
So
I got it. I got that.
Do you need some mansplaining?
No. No.
No. Okay.
More mansplaining. It's okay. Good.
All right.
All right. So there, where I'm seeing that kind of line there, I'm just going to get some of my darker color and try to get it mixed in. But if it doesn't mix, that's fine. You just need to pull it out so that it looks like it was part of the thing all along. So if you're trying to, fix, like my chalk kind of messed up right there. Chalk messed up my background right there. It wiped off part of my background color, so just the color that I kind of mixed that is close, I'm just going to pull it out and push it into a wider area, not just around my vase, and then that way it kind of blends in and looks like it was there all along. All right, let's go. Oh, we're making pretty good time. My bird is not looking too hot, but we'll get it there. Let me see, that is just about dry. So let's go ahead and grab some glaze. This is the fun part on my basket here. I'm gonna get some burnt umber, maybe a little bit of that dark that has a little bit of the blue in it, that dark gray that has the blue. And I'm gonna try to load up this brush so that it's mostly on the tip of the angle brush. So I've got the 3/8 inch angle, and I'm just gonna load that dark color on here. And darken up this side of my basket there. And I need to spray this. This is where I can kind of put a little lip there. I can darken up the top of that so that it looks like it's separated a little bit more. The darker that I make my glaze, the more paint I have in it, the more opaque it'll be, and the more it will affect my painting here. Now what I can do is then go back in, and in some of these areas where I've glazed, I can go back over and just kind of lightly put back in some of my detail there. That might be a little bit too much, but I think I need to bring that up a little bit actually. There we go. Okay, well, you get the idea. And then I'm going to go ahead and darken up underneath that one, just like we did in the vase. I need that dark line up underneath it. And pulled to the side, so just wiping my brush clean once I get that paint down. And pulling it. Use my finger to smudge it out. I want that almost black right up underneath the vase there, or the basket in this case. And then I'm going to use that glaze to just pull shadows down and rub that out. Oops, that was starting to dry there. I'll have to fix that. I'll have to do it a couple of times to get it smooth. But I could also mix in, there's a couple of ways of doing it. I could mix in that color that's on the unbleached titanium that was there. I can mix in my shadow color and put that in that way. And then blend it out. With more of my more of this color around the edges. So you can either do it in transparently or you can do it more opaquely and then blend it out. So it's kind of really up to you, however you want to do it. This is the more opaque method here. Blending out. A little bit lighter in between them, and then, woo, see, that was lifting off that dark color. That if you lift it, if you blend over it while it's drying, it does that. It'll lift off the color. But okay, I'll just let it kind of settle for a minute and then come back to it.
Can you kind of give a quick description of what glazing is?
Glazing is using either water or a medium, transparent medium that will thin out your color so that it is also transparent. So using a color that is transparent to begin with can help, and it just makes it more transparent. So I'm just adding more transparency to the color and then using that to go over the top of an area that I've already painted to add a darker shadow. So I could do it over here too. I can add it over here And what it does is leave, like with our basket, it's more obvious because what it does is leave the texture showing through. So you're actually seeing through. And here I'm not going to be glazing. I'm going to be going over with the darker color because it's all light in that area. But what it does is shows the texture through, so you can darken up an area without actually covering up all the color. All right, let's go ahead and do our grasses and things. So I think I'm going to use my fan brush for some of this. And I'm going to get some of these grape. I'm going to mix both of these together, the yellowish with the reddish. And I'm going to use those. Yeah. So I just want to be able to see it up against there. If I can't see it, then I obviously need more of the darker color. Let me use some of the reddish and orangey. There we go. And just make sure it all kind of points back to the vase. I'm going to get a little bit of that darker color for down in here. It's nice and dark right where it comes out. Tapping. You can pull through to make lines, kind of just start your line and then tap as it comes up. I'm going to start with these darker colors and then we'll add the lighter colors on top. This will give it a kind of a nice base, and it should have the same colors as in our basket here. As they come over here, they're getting a little bit lighter, so I'm going to kind of keep my darker ones to this half of the vase. And then as we come over, I'm going to get more white. Maybe a little bit more of that pinkish, but more of the white. And spray everything. So you should just be able to see it against there. That's perfect. Doing it while that's wet is kind of picking up those darker colors too, is making it nice blend. I like it. And then there's kind of a heavier, fluffy area here. I'm gonna kind of pull down toward the center of these. Fan brush is a miracle. It's so cool. It's amazing.
And if you need a fan brush, check out the brush guys.
Yeah, there you go.
There's a link down below in the description. And there's a code Angela Fine Art. You get an additional 5% off your purchase.
This one is the Princeton Select Bristle Fan number 4.
Our one of our fans, Shannon, had posted in the Facebook group that she had ordered from the brush guys. Mm-hmm. Now she lives in Hawaii, and they are on the mainland. And 2 days later, she had her brushes.
Whoa!
Yeah, so she said it's even better than Amazon.
That's amazing.
So they do pretty good work.
Nice. All right, getting some of the reddish color here. I'm going to do some of that over here. I want it a little bit more gray, so I'm going to get a little bit more of the black and white and add that to this reddish color that I already had in here. There we go. So basically we're just going to be using basically all the colors that we have previously used here to create this cascading effect here of our flowers. And it's just a matter of using the, over here, the lighter colored ones are not going to show up, so we're going to have to use some of the darker to get these to show up over here. And with the darker background, or the kind of mid-tone background, and then the lighter background here is going to show up our lighter white. So I'm going to get some of that gray and use it on this side of the fan-like ones here. Give it a little bit of shadow. Okay. And then I'm going to get a smaller brush here. Let me see. I'm going to use this brush. This is my 1/4 inch angle. And I'm going to use my white and my unbleached titanium to create little petaled, or leaves, I should say, not petals, leaves. So I'm going to brush my, load it up fairly thick, but I want it to come to a straight point there. If my brush doesn't come to a straight point, I won't be able to get these leafy shapes in. So I'm going to set it down and just pull. And just do them in different directions. So let's do one here and one here. You can also do it this way, however you want to do it. There's a couple other brushes that you can use. You could use a Filbert or a round brush to get a similar. I find that the angle brush kind of just does it a little bit easier for me. I like it. So, but use whatever brush you're comfortable with, and it does a good job for you. And this is something you could practice on paper, you know, before you go to your canvas, to kind of get a comfortable familiarity with, you know, the brush strokes and how to do it. I'm trying to kind of break it up so that I'm not getting the same old, and I'm going to get some of the yellow here and do like a yellow yellow. Maybe a little bit of that darker color to shadow it. There we go. Adding some white fluff to some of these. Those are all looking about the same color, so I want to go back over them with a little bit of the darker color in some places. Put some leaves in that are darker tones so they don't look all kind of out of the place. Same. Okay. And then our pink flowers, I'm going to use my purple color here and do my line with that. The purple is going to look really good against these other tones. This is a magenta color.
So these are the reds that people didn't see in the painting.
Right. Yeah.
And when it's with the grays and stuff like that, it doesn't really look red.
Right. Yeah. It kind of desaturates it. It's interesting.
Yeah, that's the term I was going to use.
Mm-hmm.
Desaturates.
You get the idea. Okay. And I want it all nice and dark right here where it comes down in, so. Get a little bit of the Unbleached Titanium, do a little wheat thing here. And the wheat things have these long, bushy I could probably bring this one up a little bit. What?
And you didn't even finish it. We'd have these long, bushy...
I know.
And we'll just move on because I have no idea what they're called.
Yeah, bushy, whatever.
Aren't they called heads?
Yeah.
Where the seeds are or the grain is?
Well, it's the part that's sticking out that I was thinking of. These long trailing.
Well, you better get it right. We don't want to upset the wheat lobby.
I know. Right, getting more bright white this time. Okay. Pretty happy with that. Then let's go ahead and use the white with my purple color here. Create my pink flowers, and I'm going to start with that kind of darker magenta purpley color and just dab in little flower shapes. I'm not really doing anything, just kind of dabbing like little circles I'm not like drawing in really carefully any petals right now. I'm just need some purple coming off here. I love this purple though against this. I think it's because it's that yellow tone, in the rest of the flowers that really makes this purple work really well. This purpley pink color looks really nice with it. It's a very pleasing color palette. Okay, and then I'm going to get some white and just a little bit of that pink. So mostly white. And this is where I'm going to more carefully draw in some petals. And this gray underneath, this grayish pink that's underneath is going to create a backdrop for me and to give the petals a little bit of depth, and I can leave a little bit of it peeking through around my petals so that they have some depth.
And the correct answer was beard.
Really?
Yes.
I would never have gotten that.
Somebody posted whiskers in the comments, so I had to go to the old interwebs.
They were close.
Yep. Because you get whiskers, you make a beard.
That's right. So for these flowers, some of them are facing us. So the ones that are facing us, I'm doing like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dots. But then the ones that are kind of facing sideways, I'm kind of doing 1, 2, 3, and then maybe line, you know. So they're not all the same. They're not all facing us. And some of the petals we're seeing from the side anyways. Some of them are overlapped, some of them are not quite open all the way. So just kind of changing the direction that I'm putting these petals down so that I get different parts of the petals showing. Okay, that's good. I don't want to overdo this. I'm already kind of towing the line between too many petals. Here, let me do one more over here. I want to look and see kind of the direction that I've got my petals going. Maybe do a couple out here. I don't have any way out here. Whoops. Wow. There's a lot of white paint there. Try to take that off there. And get some of that purple. I might bring that out just a little bit more there.
So you are currently at 829.
What?
You're
On
currently
TikTok?
on TikTok followers.
That's not bad for like a week and a half.
Yeah, thank you everybody for
Yeah.
joining us on this adventure.
We're doing some fun stuff on there. It's just kind of...
When you hit 1,000, should we post a picture of me flossing? Or a video of me flossing?
We should give them some incentive to join us, huh?
Okay, we just need 171 of you to go right now and follow Angela on TikTok. And then you can just sit back and just bask in the awesomeness.
I'm using the yellow here to kind of went through with the purple, and now I'm using the yellow.
I mean, I don't want to break TikTok.
It's true. Well, they have all those dance challenges that they on TikTok. That's what they're kind of known for.
Oh, so I'm not going to be original?
No, there's a lot of people dancing on TikTok.
But not as good as me.
Not nearly as good as you. No.
Right.
Definitely not. Okay, I think I've put way too many flowers in here as usual. That's how I always do. So what I can do is just I'll fix it, but I'm gonna live with it for a minute and finish my bird first, and then we'll come back to it. All right, so I'm gonna get some white from my bird, my dove. We need a smaller brush, probably. I'll put that highlight on the head and just pull that pink color down. The beak looks a little weird. There we go.
Would you stop it?
Let me get a number 2 round here.
I wasn't talking to you. Cashmere was clawing my leg.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Nice.
I think that makes me eligible for a workman's comp.
Is that so?
Yeah, injured on the job.
Mm. I think that's, you need to take that up with HR. Employee violence there happening.
Okay, I'll be on strike then, Wednesday through Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay, sounds like a plan. Okay, just trying to add some white here. Get the bigger brush here. Some of that light blue. Back side of the head. I made the head too big, but it's too late now. Without redoing the curtains. Okay, so there's a wing here, and then there's the separation and the wing there. So I'm just in the middle of the back is like a little bit lighter than the rest. So I'm gonna get that kind of lightish blue from there. It goes up to the head. Once I get the eye on there, it'll make a little bit more sense too. But get a little bit of that kind of creamy red add. And I'm seeing some of that red in the wing over here as it's overlapping. That lighter color here and just giving it a nice separation there between the wings. Get some of the lighter white right here, kind of coming off that shoulder area. And then the lighter color on this side of the wing, like that. And then just kind of separate out a few feathers. Out of focus?
It was for a second there.
There we go. So that's about all I'm going to do. I'm not going to get into, you know, any real crazy detail. Maybe get a little bit more white and just hit that edge right there with a little bit of white. And right here where it overlaps the tail. And then these tail feathers make sure they're nice and white right there. A lot of white on the front part of the face. And then I'm going to get a little bit more of that darker gray right back here. Back part of the neck. Shoulder area. A little bit of a shadow right there, and then a little bit kind of coming in front of the wing right there. Okay, and then I'm going to shadow around the eye just slightly. And then get my black. And very carefully in my little eye. The beak should come off from the eye, so I have the beak a little bit low. The beak should come off from the eye like that. And then I'm going to get a little bit of white. Just pop a little highlight in that eye right there. Right, and then this part of the face and should come up over that beak right there a little bit, and then this part should have a little over the beak right here that comes down. Woo! There we go. And this part of the head should be a little bit flatter. I kind of have the head a little bit round right here. I'm going to maybe try to flatten it out a little bit right there. Okay. My white has got other colors in it now, but I'm trying to get some pure white here. Just right there. All right, and then this basket is looking a little bit brown to me, so I'm gonna get my yellow here and some white. This was my Indian Yellow Hue with, I think it had a little bit of the red in it, maybe. I can't remember what I mixed. You have to go to the beginning of the video to see. I'm not sure. Honestly, don't remember. Sorry. But more yellow. That's all I know. Oh yeah, it needs a foot. Get that pink. Here's the foot. Got a piece coming down right here, and then two little angles right there. I'm not going to super detail it out. Okay, that's looking a little bit more baskety. And then might even go brighter on this side. A little bit more white.
So that's another art term. Baskety.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just use that brighter white on that half of it and then go a little bit more mid-tone once you get into this middle area. Go. Getting some white with this in Indian Yellow Hue. Go bright yellow. Just a few little spots here. I already kind of did the mid-tone yellow, but these are just that. Just want to pop up like a little bit brighter yellow. Okay. adding a few more leaves here. Now this is just a point where I'm kind of going to look and see if there's any little bits that I can add that'll make a impact here. So maybe adding some dark purple stems over the top of some of these. Push some of them back visually. Get some of that mid-tone purple out. I think this needs to come down a little bit right here. All right, anything I missed? Gonna maybe make a little bit more of a separation here on my table. That darker color right up against the edge of it is going to be darkest right where it touches the object, right up next to it, and then it'll fade out as it goes away from it. Just making sure that I have that shadow a little bit darker right where it's touching those. And I don't see the shadow for the bird would be over here. If it's coming this direction, I don't think we would see the shadow for it, but maybe a little bit on the box itself. Yeah, I see a little bit on the box itself, so let me get a little bit of that. And I'm, again, just kind of glazing over. This box has got a shadow coming across and down from our bird. There we go. There's a little bit of a shadow on the vase itself here from this vase, or from this object. Right here. We kind of have it in there already, sort of. But maybe make it a little bit darker. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. Maybe do a little shadow of our flowers coming down. And we can add a little bit of that browner color over here to warm up the vase a little bit. It's pretty cool gray right now. We can maybe add some streaks into our curtains here with some white. Make them look a little bit shinier. Add a little bit of that bright white to some of our flowers. There's a little bit of it over here that I didn't have. I like it. This is kind of fun. Let me know if you guys like doing these kind of more gray toned. I guess I'll find out if nobody watches it. That's an easy way of telling, but hopefully we had a few people watching tonight. I don't know.
Yeah, a few hundred. Yeah.
Good. Good. I always enjoy getting to paint with you guys. Appreciate you hanging out with us live. It makes it a lot more fun.
Yes.
A lot less awkward than talking to myself.
True that.
All right, just adding a few little gray dots here just to fill out my vase. Maybe add a little bit more drama here. Bring it out a little farther. I think I want a little bit of that purple with the yellow mixed together. I'm going to add a little bit of that in here just to warm up some of this area that's got my flower petals. I feel like it's just like no purple and then all in this one area here. Will help warm it up a little bit. I have a little bit of these two colors mixed, which is kind of similar to that color there that we were already using. There we go. That's better. Sometimes you just have to kind of play with something until it kind of looks right. So it took me a minute to kind of get there, but I'm going to use a little bit of this color. If I can get it. This yellow and purple mixture with my glaze. I'm just going to glaze on my box a little bit with that. Yellow or white will also pick up the colors around it, so it makes sense for our white curtains, our white background, our white table to have all the colors in the upper area of our picture. So put some of that reddish tone in there. Just kind of tying it all together a little bit better. Giving that color a little bit more harmony in my color story. And I can maybe take a little bit of this gray color here, use it on my edge of my table there too. It's gonna look a little bit dark right now, but I'm gonna wipe that off and just blend it out. There we go. Kind of define that edge of the table a little bit better. Don't want it that obvious though. Let me take that off. I think I made it too dark. Let's try that again.
Quickly mention Patreon while you're doing that.
Yes, I've already got the traceable up. You saw it here. This is the traceables. So what you can do is just use this as your guide so you don't have to draw anything. Gives you a little head start on it, and then you can just paint along and not have to draw. That's the $2 level, and then for the $5 level, we'll have a bonus video coming up this weekend. They also get, this Sunday, once a month we do that, and we'll, it also gives you access to our library of old bonus videos. So we've got dozens, I'm not sure exactly how many, but lots, 4 years worth since 2017, and 5 years worth coming up. And, I guess, was it 5 years in February? I guess. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And then just blending that out a little bit, darkening that up. And then on Thursdays we're working on a project that we do every Thursday together, and called our challenge image, that we work on a more challenging, more advanced level image, and work on it all month long on Thursdays. So I've already started on that one last week, and we'll be continuing with it this week and moving forward the rest of this month. So if you're interested in all that, there's information on my Patreon page there. If you go to patreon.com/AngelaFineArt, it's more information about signing up. And again, check out our TikTok if you're on TikTok. We're also doing some behind the scenes reels and things on our Instagram page. So trying to get a little bit more engagement on some of our other social media platforms besides YouTube. And so check those out down in the description, and also a list of supplies and everything I used tonight to bring you this painting. Hope you enjoyed it. All right. Thanks guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.